I'm just waiting for the day where you have some sort of AI integration. Find me a parcel that has, this A plus school zone and that qualification. And oh, here's a list of 3.
Well, that's a great segue, Sean. Why don't you show them Land Buddy, and then we'll talk about we'll talk about the couple
Yeah.
other features that we're going to have.
Yeah.
So does it already exist on some level?
We are working on it.
Wow.
It's today we can do that for the zoning and the land development codes. And so one of the pain points, which I mean you also know because you've also built properties too, is looking at the zoning code is an absolute pain in the ass, right? I mean, it takes hours. You have to hire a land use attorney or someone's doing that work for you. And so one of the things that we did is we're like, okay, how can we use AI to merge it with the Muni code and the zoning code and get answers to questions in seconds? And so what we did is we rolled out a proprietary system here called Land Buddy. And Land Buddy is your buddy for all questions zoning based like across the whole state of Florida. And so what you can do is now open up Land Buddy and choose your jurisdiction. So we'll go ahead here and choose Hillsborough. And you can literally ask this any question.
Wow.
So as an example, you can say, hey, what's the required yard for this specific zoning in Hillsborough County? Click search. And what this does is actually searches through the Muni code in seconds and gives you specific answers, sections to where it found that code, and then documents as to where it found that actual data from.
Wow. So you're asking it, what is the required yard for RSC 6? And it says front yard setback is this, side yard is this. And then it actually gives you the section of the code where it found the info from.
That's exactly
with
right.
links.
Yep.
So you can be like, let me make sure this is correct. Boom. The info's right there.
Exactly.
Wow.
And you can ask this, you can ask this questions relative to, setbacks, building height limits.
What about specific parcels?
It won't answer questions. It doesn't have access yet to the parcel data, but he'll show you a example of a query that we recently used for our Sims Road parcel.
Wow.
Which one's that?
Well, you can just say how many units. What would the 17-acre parcel?
So it can do the math, so to speak, on stuff like that.
Oh,
yeah.
It's amazing with all of the
So
density
we have a
bonuses that you might
parcel.
be able to achieve,
Wow.
assuming wetlands, assuming traffic. It'll give you impact fee estimates. So estimate what the impact fees for a 240 unit apartment complex would be, and it's able to do that math. If it's in the code, it's available. Some counties don't have the fee schedule, so it just gives you approximates. But what you do end up learning is what you're missing. So if you're thinking about it or you have a pro forma working, you have like 6 or 7 different fee types. It'll enumerate the fees. It's not going to give you the exact number, but it's going to get you close. And you're going to know that you're not missing anything in your pro forma.
Wow. So if you're just looking quickly up a couple sites, 3, 4 sites, you can bang out the information and get at least a sense of where you're at versus, God, it'd take you forever to look all this up, as you know.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
you,
check this out.
So you put in, we have a parcel that has a future land use of SMU 6. 10% of the site is wetlands. Can you calculate the total density for this site, taking into account lot setbacks? Boom. And it's giving you this super, super detailed approach and telling you how it's calculating it at the same time. So it's giving you base density, a wetlands deduction, density calculation with additional considerations too.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Now this is AI, so you have to prompt it, but this can get you the answer to questions very easily. And I mean, you can ask this like there was another question that somebody also had the other day, like what are all of the permitted uses? And so to your point earlier, you can say what are the permitted uses in CG zoning, which is commercial general zoning. And instead of looking it in the code, right, which will just take you 10, 15, 20 minutes, you can just, type that in here.
I always forget my
And check
place
this
in the
out.
code too. You'll think you know where it's at, and then you go to the section, and they're so hard to find. Asking a question is so much easier. No different than calling the building department
Yeah,
or zoning and being like, "Yo, this is the site.
exactly.
What's the information on it?"
Exactly. And so this is, Garrett, how we're using AI to get answers
Wow.
to questions faster.
Massive. And the learning on this, right? Like this improves over time, right? Doesn't the AI learn what types of questions people ask, or how does that work? Like, do you build in pre-prompted questions, or does
No,
it?
there's no pre-prompted questions. So we're basically we're basically teaching our it's a foundation of ChatGPT. So we're teaching it the land use and the future land use code. But in our scenario, ChatGPT gets smarter, but its relationship to our land use and future land use code doesn't change. So it's not learning what types of questions you want over time, but this is how
But it doesn't need to, because it's just all it needs is the information, and then it takes whatever prompt there is and feeds it to you.
That's exactly right.
Very interesting.
But,
so cool.
But you brought up a great question. What's the future? So we're basically, the next part of this for Land Buddy is very important. We're going to connect it to all of this data. So eventually you're going to be able to ask it the exact question you want. Hey, I want to see 20-acre parcels in Hillsborough County that are by a traffic light with 30,000 cars per day on a road frontage. And it's going to take this entire back end and give you an answer that you want.
Hey guys, if you want to watch the full episode of this clip, click right here. Make sure to subscribe by clicking right here. Thank you for watching.